What's going on, guys? It's your boy. So in today's video, we're going to be getting serious about software engineering, and there's a lot of good benefits of being a software engineer. You got the potentials for a good salary. You can work remotely. You can pretty much work for a company that has cool technology, and you can provide value in a lot of different ways, right? Building an application from scratch, introducing a new technology, having the ability to take off whenever you want. I mean, the possibilities are endless, especially with startups and bigger companies. But what comes with the good stuff, there's always going to be the bad stuff. So me having 12 plus years in the game, I just kind of wanted to give you guys 5 cons that are very important that you need to know before you jump into software engineering, especially today in 2025. The job market is tough, bro. And if you've seen multiple videos that I put out here about the software engineering in general and being a developer, you understand that, if you're applying for these jobs right now, you're not getting any callbacks. There's a lot of phantom jobs out there that promise a lot of things, but you're not necessarily going through the interview process, and then the job description or the job posting disappears. That's real foul. Also doing 7 interviews in one sitting. I mean, I think that's ridiculous just to get a job now. And then people who are entry level to junior level developers are not having a good time right now. And the biggest thing that you need to do is have network. Like, you have to create a network. You have to talk with people. You have to get in to where you get a call back immediately. And then you just have to make sure that you ace the interview. That's the biggest thing. And that's where a lot of people fell too. So number one that I noticed in my career with software engineering, like the dark side of it, is burnout. Burnout is a real thing. I thought, well, if you didn't go to the gym, if you just, work nonstop every single day, you will burn out quickly. And even though that is true, the biggest thing for me personally was I was going to the gym, I was outside, I was doing everything that I needed to do, but I was putting in 12-hour days and still being in the same spot that I was, not making any progress. So the biggest thing that I want to tell you guys is, if you are dealing with deadlines, you're dealing with a problem that you really can't figure out and it's taking you days to really understand what is needed there, number one is to take breaks. Okay, so if you're spending time on a problem for at least an hour, take a break, go outside, go for a walk, get some fresh air. If you like going to the gym, go to the gym, do whatever you need to do to stay active. Now, if, for example, someone that has touched a part of the code that you're working on and you're trying to solve this problem, reach out to that person and get on a huddle, a Teams meeting, set up a call and talk about the problem that you're having, and hopefully they can help you and walk you through what needs to be done, or at least give you an idea of what needs to be done. Once you're good on that part, you should be golden. But the problem lies when you try to figure out everything on your own. You should not be figuring out every single detail on your own. This is why you work on a team, okay? Especially if you have a job right now. If you are working with the dev team that helps with, solving problems, or just is open to just giving you advice, you're on a great team, and some people take that for granted. And if you're just on an island by yourself, like if you work remotely, trust me, you're going to be by yourself a lot of times. You're going to be very independent as a software engineer. And sometimes you might not even be able to contact the developers that you need to contact or have conversations like that. But, the biggest thing that you could do is for yourself, if you can't get in contact with anybody, if they're taking a real long time to respond, just cut your losses, go outside, do something that you enjoy. Don't just keep spinning your wheels to where you're getting overinflated with your ego, and now all you're doing is just typing and you're trying to figure things out and you're introducing more issues. I used to do this shit all the time. and there was no benefit to it. Honestly, going out is the big thing that I love to do, and I didn't even want to go out anymore. You know what I'm saying? And it takes a toll on you. It does. Also, if you have a bunch of deadlines too, I mean, listen, deadlines could be pushed back. Unless like there's a mission critical deadline and you have to do what you have to do, it is what it is. But if there's blockers that you can't do anything about and is out of your control, there's nothing you can do about it, bro. So number one is you. Make sure that you take care of you. All right. If you feel burnt out, talk to your manager, be like, yo, I can't do this. Like I feel like I'm drowning, you know what I'm saying? And take your time. You know, take the time off. If you want to take a week off, take a week off. Relax. Then come back refreshed. The second con is you're going to be working on easy tasks all the time. Depending on the company, this might change. So as a software engineer, for me, when I first became a software engineer, all I did was work on easy bugs. I didn't really work on like hard problems, you know, big features. I didn't really work on any of that stuff until like later in my career. And that's what you're going to be doing. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be doing that a lot, and you have to get comfortable with that idea for now. But if you're doing it for months on end and all you're doing is the same thing over and over again, bro, it gets boring. Trust me, at a certain point in your career, you're going to be wanting to do more, not only for the company, but for yourself. I have a mentality where I need to get better at least 1% every single day. At least 1%. The reason for this is because, like, for example, if I go to the gym and I notice that, you know, my clothes fit nicer, I look good, like even in the mirror, I want to maintain that or even do better than that. You know what I'm saying? And then set up goals based on what I want in that moment and in that time. So based on my goals for the gym, okay, like my body looks physically fit, but also I want to work on my cardio. I want to work on just being well-rounded as a person. And you're going to come with that in software engineering for sure, because there were times where I was just comfortable with just doing front-end development, but then I wanted to learn the back end too. So I was introduced into C# and I had to understand how to write in C#. And some of those methodologies that I learned, you know, developing on the front end, and then also, you know, C++, when I was doing it in high school, came back to me and I was like, okay, this is how it should be, you know, and try to figure all that stuff out. And what's cool about it is that, you know, in my early 20s, I would say I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? I was like, whatever, I'll work on whatever I need to do. As long as I'm getting paid, it is what it is. But as I got into my 30s, I was like, yo, I got to really step it up. Like, I got to figure shit out. I got to, you know, take leads on projects, like not be afraid to voice my opinions on certain things and not feel that, you know, I don't know more than other developers on a team. Because if you are just on a team where they're constantly learning new things and they're bringing things up, you're going to feel some type of way. You're going to feel imposter syndrome. It's going to be for everybody. The biggest thing is that, oh, I'm getting benefit from this person. He is a subject matter expert at this technology. Let me learn from him and let me pay for it in a different way. You know what I'm saying? So that's my philosophy now. But when we're talking about just working on these tasks, you know, it's going to get boring month to month. And if you're not growing, if you're not getting 1% better every single day, you might have to look into other things, or at least talk to your manager about doing something else. Like, hey, I would like to work on a bigger project. I'm getting bored doing the same thing every single day. And if they give you a bigger project, good. Then now you have the opportunity to do the research on your own and show that you could be trusted with these projects. If you fold, then obviously you're just scared to fail. You know what I'm saying? Every developer has failed once in their career, at least once or twice, or even more. The more you fail, the more lessons that you will get from those failures, and the easier things will be going forward. Trust me, I failed multiple times on a lot of things. But the biggest thing that I've learned from those failures is like how to move forward and not stew in that failure. You know what I'm saying? Because some people will just sit there and stew in it, and they'll feel like, oh man, I wish I would have done this better. I wish I could have done this, but there's nothing you could have done about it because it happened already. So why are you stewing on it? So that's the biggest thing I want to tell you guys is that, yes, you're going to be working on easy tasks and it's going to feel great after a while, but then it's going to come a certain point where you're going to have that hard conversation with yourself in terms of what you need and what you want to do for the rest of your life. This third con is that, for you guys that are junior developers or entry-level developers, is going to be a tough grind for you right now. Tough grind. Trying to find a gig right now, very tough. You're applying to 100 jobs a day, getting rejections like every single time. It's going to be tough. The real way to get into tech right now, it has to be networking. You have to figure out how to create relationships within these companies of people who work in these companies that are on the dev team or at like a higher up position, and show that you can do the job. Just applying is not going to get you anywhere, because I feel like they're using AI to vet through a lot of these applications now. It's not a manual process anymore. If I'm getting 1,000 applications, how am I going to vet through all that as an HR manager? Think about it. They got to be using some AI tool to go through your resume and look at whether you have the qualifications for the job. You know what I'm saying? And if you're able to get a phone interview, at least, you got to knock it out of the park. Okay, you can't just get stuck in yourself to where you're nervous about the interview because you think you're not going to do good. If you know that you could do the job, you should be confident on that call. Whatever questions that you're asked should be straightforward. This is what I could do. This is the value that I bring. And I look forward to a technical interview with you guys. That simple. But some of you guys are just applying without any context, no cover letter, no nothing. And a majority of you are actually updating your resume with BS and trying to BS your way through the interview process. Now, if you're really good at talking, kudos to you, because now you have to learn on the job. Usually you just learn on the job anyway. But at the same time, it's going to show if you haven't practiced, if you haven't really built any meaningful projects, you really haven't done the work of understanding the fundamentals and understanding exactly what is needed in the tech space, is going to show. So the biggest thing I'm going to tell you guys is that it's going to be a grind. So if you don't have a portfolio right now, start looking at building projects. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start building projects that make sense to you, solving a problem that you want to solve for a long time. And if you're able to do that, put that on your portfolio and make sure that you have a nice landing page explaining exactly what you do, the projects that you worked on, and what you're proficient in. Make sure that your portfolio is simple. Simplicity, I was taught this in high school. Simplicity is money, bro. All that lavish shit looks nice, but if you don't have any substance to your project, I can't mess with you, bro. So it's gonna be a tough grind, trust me. Just do the things that you need to do. If there's a project that you want to work on that project. Build it on your free time. Do what you need to do to break in, because it's way harder now than it was before. Trust and believe me. The fourth con is, depending on what company you work for, there's going to be a toxic culture. It happens, right? I was very fortunate to work for 2 companies in particular. I would say 3 companies in particular that had great culture. The people there wanted you to grow. They gave you a lot of opportunities, and you pretty much it was all on you at the end of the day. They gave you the layup, but you just had to follow through. If you couldn't follow through, that's on you. All right. So, the biggest thing is, like, if you work for some of these companies that are like gatekeeping a lot, they're keeping you in a box. They're not giving you those opportunities because they deem you not ready for it, but you feel ready. Other people are telling you, hey, you're ready for this. You should be doing this. And then they're gatekeeping you in that box. You got to cut your losses right there. There's no growth there. So what you need to do, if you're dealing with a toxic culture to where people are making you feel less than what you are, you need to, if you know people in the tech space, talk to them, see if you could get a job interview with them, understand the company itself, just don't apply. And that's another thing too, is that some of you guys are just applying to these companies and not really understanding what the company does and all that stuff. And it's a bad look. Okay. So make sure you understand the company. That's very important. But, look at what how the dev team is, like their processes, right? Like, what do they do to be more productive? Like, how do they have everything laid out? Do you need to like help with defining like a CI/CD pipeline structure or like a branching strategy? If you have to do all that stuff, that's usually for a startup, but you have to do all that stuff and you're not really getting credit for it, that's going to be an issue. You were to introduce something and they were like, okay, cool, thanks, and that's it, no recognition. It's time to go, bro. It's time to go. So make sure that you understand the company culture, also the team culture. Are these the people that you want to work with every single day? If not, bro, you got to do what you got to do. The last con I'm going to tell you guys about is, listen, there's a lot of technology out there now. We got AI tools. We got different libraries and frameworks that are coming out. I feel like every single year or every couple months. You just have to evaluate to see if it works for you because it solves a problem, right? There's going to be cognitive overload with a lot of this stuff, especially if you are context switching a lot. If you are doing this, there's a book, and let me grab it from my Rolodex. You feel me? So this book right here, the one thing, I read this book and this changed the way I go about software engineering, as a whole, okay? About 220 pages in this book right here, all right? You read that book, you're gonna change the way you go about your job, okay? I used to context switch all the time. I used to sit there and work on one project. I get frustrated with that. I work on another thing, and then I never got to like 100% of the goal. This book will give you, will just tell you like, hey, you need to focus on one thing at a time. If there's a project that you need to work on, break your goal of getting that project done into smaller pieces to where you can manage it. Whether you go the easy route, you work on the easy task, then the hardest, or I do it in reverse. The hardest task is the first one, and then I do like a snowball effect, right? Go down the list. That has helped me tremendously in my career to where I'm able to get things done a lot faster. I'm able to effectively talk about some of these projects that I'm working on and then teach other people how to, troubleshoot or figure out the code base itself, like the actual architecture. And this book, I can't rave about it enough, has helped me tremendously. So if you context switch a lot, if you like to look at different technologies and you're doing half-ass things all the time, the one thing, it's a game changer. It's a game changer for software engineering or any job that you're doing. Also, having that feeling of being behind all the time, you're gonna deal with that all the time. I feel like I'm behind every single day, but I know what I know. And if people were to ask me questions, I'm confident of giving an answer because I've done the research, I've done the work. So just with everything in life, you're gonna be doing the same thing. So keep that in mind, okay? Just keep that in mind. Those are going to be the cons of software engineering. Those are definitely big things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Something that, if you're jumping into the tech space and you want to become a software engineer, this is what you're going to have to deal with. If you really don't want to do it, then you don't have to. Find something else. But if you're really hungry to be a software engineer, just look out for these things and you should be fine. All right. So that's it, guys. That's the video. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know if there's any other cons that I haven't really talked about in this video that you noticed in software engineering. Definitely want to hear from you guys and, what you would do in that situation. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll talk soon.